In today's video I'm doing my first ever hill climb event at Wiscombe Park, but first I take a trip to Plymouth to see Jason at JMR Racing. Jason had been in contact with me and asked if he could have a go at tuning the car with its new exhaust before I went ahead and switched over to throttle bodies, as Jason is a Carburettor man, and wanted to see if he could get a bit more power out of it. Jason and Steve Evans, who built the engine, are friends, and Steve said he was more than happy for Jason to have a play around with it and see what he could do. JMR Racing is a pretty well-known name in the classic racing scene, and he's had a lot of success building race engines for Volkswagens. He started off playing around with the Volkswagen Golf engine. That's how he got going, and he's now building engines that are successful around the likes of Goodwood. So yeah, you could say he definitely knows what he's doing. But he's not only interested in the Volkswagen or the Golf stuff, he's got his hand in building mini engines, Ford Pinto engines, all sorts of classic stuff. He's got a real passion for carburettors and tuning carburettors, which there aren't many people these days around that are still interested in doing that. I always like getting to have a nose around at people's workshops and trying to learn as much as I can while I'm in there. I find porting really interesting, and I like that even with all the modern technology we have, CNC porting and all that stuff, it seems like the guys getting the best results are still hand porting cylinder heads, and it's kind of, shows that there is a real art as well as a science to it. And Jason's very open with sharing any tips and tricks that he had while I was there. So this was something Jason spotted when we were getting the car on the rollers, and he had seen a video from Steve at Vulcan had posted about the same thing happening, and that cam belt tensioner had actually started to split in two. So that was really lucky that he spotted that, because I hadn't noticed it, and I'd been driving the car around like that. So we had to replace the cam belt tensioner. Luckily he had an old genuine one, so we just put that one on it. And to do that properly involves rechecking all the cam timing, because the slight difference in belt tension will actually adjust the timing of the cam slightly. So we ended up resetting the cam timing to what Steve recommended. That chap stood there on the right is Graham Rawlings, who used to run this rolling road before Jason took it over. Between the two of them, you could tell there was a huge amount of knowledge there, and just listening to them both discussing which direction to go with the jetting was really interesting. So the car made 175 at the wheels on Jason's rollers, which would equate to the 200 that it made at HT Racing. So they're reading very similar at the moment. That stumbling at low RPM, we did manage to improve on that slightly, but it's definitely still there and did cause a bit of an issue at the hill climb, so we're going to have to go back and revisit that. But this is it's a very time consuming job, and the amount of jets and stuff you have to have, which you can see there, the amount of switching things around is just it just eats up time really quickly. So I was there for a whole day, and that by the end of the day there was still a lot of things that Jason wanted to try on the car, so I think it will need another trip to get it absolutely perfect. another issue I've got is with my rev count. You can see it keeps spiking up and down, so it's getting like an interference with the signal. It's like a little module that converts the coil signal to a CAN signal so that the dash can read it, and there appears to be an issue with that. I thought it might be the way that I've run the cables, but I've tried all sorts of different ways, so I've sent that little unit back and hopefully that will solve that problem. And that is the end result, 174 to 187, which I have to say is more than I was expecting.
I mean, obviously 3000 is where it starts to run clean, but obviously it's not ramping up. Obviously the difference between torque at 3000 100 pounds-feet and 4000, which is about 140, that's a real noticeable difference. Between 3 and 4 it's going to look like, oh, here we go, but the difference between 4000 and 5500 is less of a difference. So anywhere above 4000 is going to go extremely well.
Yeah.
This dip here you probably won't really feel, but that's a combination of exhaust length, inlet length. We could try forever and you may never get it out, but we could play with inlet lengths within reason. You've got a bit of room to go in, not a great deal. And again, your exhaust lengths are limited to your space, so again that could pull out with exhaust length. So it's always a combination of, you know, the ultimate works, but 187 with the wheels for Pinto is outstanding.
Yeah.
You know, ifs, buts and babies right there. So Steve's done a phenomenal job on that.
Happy days, I'm happy with that.
So it will not feel slow in the slightest. But it's definitely up on where it was from HT's, but that's no reflection on them. You've got a different exhaust, and we've spent a lot more time getting the jet in.
Yeah, it's completely different jet as well, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's completely different setup.
So what are we?
So
what are we on now?
We started with 160 mains, and we're on 175s, and we've come from 100 air correctors up to 160. So it is a completely different jetting setup that it now requires because of that exhaust manifold.
Let's have a drive, see what it goes like. So thanks again to Jason for the day on the rollers. It was a really productive day. Learnt loads while I was there as well, which is always good. All Jason's details are in the description box, so if you need someone to tune your carbureted car or a race engine building, then JMR is definitely worth a look. Next stop is Wiscombe Park Hillclimb, and as you'll see, it didn't start off as well as I had hoped. So this has been a long time in the making, doing this event and changing the engine from the MX-5 turbo engine to the old school Ford Pinto engine, and doing this event was like something that I'd sort of planned to do. That was the goal. So I wanted to make this video a good one and really like film as much of the event as possible. I pulled up in the morning, stepped out of the van, and there was like a tractor tyre rut in the grass where I was parked, and my ankle I just stepped out of the van, my ankle just rolled over. So I was like led on the floor in disbelief really of what had happened. There was a trailer parked next to me, so I pulled myself up into this trailer and just led on someone's trailer for about 20 minutes, just trying to see if, like, assess sort of how bad it was. And like sometimes you do that and your ankle rolls over and it stings a bit, and then you can like walk it off. I knew this was a bit worse than that, but I had been planning this for ages. It was all paid for, you know, a lot of effort gone into getting the car ready and blah blah blah, and I was like, I am doing it now, I'm here. I'm just going to take a load of painkillers and I'll just deal with the pain of it tomorrow. It's more sore now. Like all this is just swelling. Like it's actually gone down a bit, but it's all going blue and black. It's not looking good at all. So I've got a severe case of the obese granny's ankle. Yeah, I can't even really walk on it now. So that was how the event started with that, and they parked me like right at the top car park of the event. It's on a steep hill. They said, yeah, load anything you want into your car and then drive your car down to the pit area bit at the bottom. So I parked in there, and then a van with a trailer and a car on the back come and just parked. I said, how come you're allowed to bring your car and trailer down? And he said, oh, if you're in this bit, you can just drive straight down. Which obviously rubbed salt in the wound a little bit. Because it would have been nice to have my van there just to have somewhere to sit, and it basically pissed down rain all day as well, so it would have been nice to have somewhere to keep dry. So the whole morning was just like hectic. You know, like you're new to something, don't know what you're doing. Luckily, I do know a few people now, and like I had loads of help from people, just telling me what to do, where to go, where to be, and everything, which was really good. So getting ready for the first practice, got to wear a balaclava under a helmet. Never worn a balaclava before. Had a new helmet which I bought because my old one was out of date, needed a new one. Put that on, put my glasses on, and they just steam up straight away, I think because of the like balaclava and the helmet's a bit like closer to my face. So then I'm like in the queuing up, trying to sort my glasses out so they don't steam up, and if I get them just in the right place and I make sure I'm breathing through my nose, they don't steam up, and then so I get there and I'm on the start, and then manage to get away and like obviously start breathing more, and then they steaming up. So it's just like, you know, just get to the top, try to learn the track a bit. You drive up the hill and then you all park at the top, and then when the last car comes up you all drive down. So I get to the top and I'm going to see the marshal, and I say, well, I've got time to go to my van to have a look for some contact lenses, which I'm hoping I had in the van. It's like, yeah, if you're quick. So then I'm like trying to speed walk to where my van is with a busted ankle to try and find some contact lenses so I can see what I'm doing. I remember just walking thinking, what am I doing? This is like really no fun whatsoever. And you know, questioning my choices of what I was doing. I got to my van, found some contact lenses, and I was like, right, at least I've got some contact lenses, let's get back to the car. So get that sorted, and then I feel like I kind of know what's going on there, and I know like what the start procedure is, and you know, I just felt like I had a bit of a gist of what was going on. So it's time to go out for the second run then. You go out in batches, so I was in batch 4, and then you're supposed to go in order of your number of car. Well, so I knew I had to follow You know, I had a couple of cars that when they would go out, I'd have to go out. Well, I didn't realise those cars were being double driven, so they were in different groups driven by 2 people. So I was chatting away to someone, see these cars getting ready to go out, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to miss my thing, quickly get all my kit on, get down to the line, the guy's like, oh, you're not out until the next group. So then I'm, got to sit with my car in the wrong place for 20-30 minutes waiting for the next lot to come down, and then it starts raining, which was another hurdle. So after the first run, I had a real issue with the car bogging down. Coming up to the hairpin, I thought I'll give it a little bit of handbrake and a little clutch kick, see if I can get the revs up to get out. And once it's going, it's absolutely flying, but it's just that bottom bit, it just really stumbles. But it was, I got to feel what it was like to, drive the car up the hill and sort of get the experience of it. And that was the first sort of enjoyable bit, I would say, was like the second run. It was what I thought it would be. Yeah, tried to do the same thing on the hairpin with a bit of handbrake, didn't work. Ended up with the same sort of time, 53 seconds, which in the wet didn't seem too bad. And then the third run, I was like, I'm gonna just slip the clutch for a lot longer to just try and keep the revs up. And that did work to get off the line, but I could smell clutch really badly after doing it, so I don't want to be doing that too often, but it did get me off the line. I felt like the first section of it, the first split, was probably the best, but it was not actually raining, but it was wet, and the track up through the trees and all under there was just like ice. It was grippier before when it was wetter, which is what a few people had said to me that it would be. So it ended up doing the same time, 53. And yeah, that was my Wiscombe Park experience done. I don't really feel like I got to experience it properly, just with how the day went, and obviously it being wet. I really want to drive it in the dry with 2 working feet. I am going to do it again, and I'm going to be a lot better set up. I know exactly what to expect. Hopefully it's dry. I think the next event I can do there is September, so I think that's a 2-day one as well. So I'll try and book in for both days. This was a 2-day event, but I wouldn't have been able to drive the Sunday as well with my foot. It's definitely worse today than when I did it. So yeah, walking around on it probably didn't do it any favours, but you know, got it done, and got to experience hill climbing for the first time. I just want to take a minute to plug my latest welding machine giveaway. This one's for an EWM Pico MIG 220 pulse machine, and this is a really high-end MIG welder with the additional pulse feature there if you need it. This can weld some really thick steel off of a 240 volt supply. I've done a full review of this machine on my channel if you want to check it out. These machines are extremely expensive to buy. I'm giving you the chance to win one for £9. There's only 400 total tickets available. There'll be no ticket bundles or anything like that. I'm just keeping it simple on this one. Any profits go straight back into making more content. So I appreciate you getting involved. If that's not your thing and you'd rather just buy a machine, I can supply machines from EWM, Jazik and ESAB at heavily discounted prices. So give me a shout if that's the route you'd rather take. And if you're interested in coming and learning to weld at Urchfab, currently taking bookings for weekday welding classes. That's going to be it for this one. Cheers for watching. See you on the next one.